What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
another day at the office, I get to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones. Orlando, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, sir. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
And all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support.
And here we go.
Get ready, get set for the best movie and pop culture talk in the universe. It's The Good Brothers on Mercado Airwaves with your hosts, Alex Mercado and Mike Mercado.
Welcome back to another episode of The Good Brothers. I'm Alex, that's Mike. We are The Good Brothers, the best pop culture podcast in the Midwest and the universe. Say hi to the folks, Mike.
Hi, folks. Mike, how are you doing, good brother?
Doing good, doing good. We had a lot to talk about today, especially with Batman.
That's right. It is going to be a busy show here on The Good Brothers. We have so much to get into. We have new casting news in the world of Batman. We're reviewing The Watchmen. We have trailers. We have breaking news on movies that are coming down the box office. We even get into the squared circle, good brother, because some interesting stuff has gone on since the last time we recorded. We had a special episode last week where we reviewed Terminator. So if you haven't seen Terminator, which nobody did, go check out our review before you do it. Otherwise, good brother, why don't we go ahead and go to the movies and see how the box office broke down. And at number one was Terminator Dark Fate. But don't cheer if you are a fan of the T-1000, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, and that whole franchise, because it only opened up to $29 million. At number two was Joker, getting closer and closer to that $1 billion club.
I believe it made its billion, didn't it?
No, it's going to probably make its billion on next week's opening box office. At number three was Maleficent.
Malfeasance.
At four was Harriet, which is actually getting pretty decent reviews, good brother, which is interesting because you and I have always been wondering, who is this movie for? What is it for?
Maybe even if it's good, it probably was meant for Netflix then. Just like Mudbound, which was very successful there.
At five was The Addams Family. At six, Zombieland Double Tap. At seven, Countdown. At 8, Black and Blue. At 9, the new Edward Norton flick, Motherless Brooklyn.
I hear good reviews on that one. Obviously, it's not going to make money, but I hear
we'll see later.
Oscar season worthy talks at least.
And at 10, Arctic Dogs. But, good brother, that is rounding up.
Wasn't that its opening weekend
Yeah,
also?
it was its opening weekend.
Man, we called that,
and it's just, it didn't have the marketing. It had the star power, but really didn't have much.
Did it have the star power, though, in an animated film nowadays where Pixar brings out,
fair enough.
Stars? You know, Chris Pratt and Tom Holland are their next big duel. Anna Faris, you know.
No, I get it. I get it. I know.
It really wasn't
you make a good point.
as big as it could have been.
And I think we really need to go back to the Terminator conversation. But before we break down the box office in that, I want to let you know what you can spend your money on this weekend, because it's a very interesting weekend, good brother. Opening up the sequel to The Shining, Dr. Sleep, which is getting some love.
It's gotten a little more love than hate. I think when it first came out, we were a little 50-50. I think we're starting to trend toward more of a 75-25, where majority of people do enjoy it, and only a small portion really don't like it.
And it's fascinating you say that 75-25 because it has a 74% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even know that, but you can already feel the trend of okay, we probably will. You and me are a little more on the positive side when it comes to reviewers in podcast and on YouTube. I think we would like it if I had to guess.
And going on a huge release, like its final big release, is Jojo Rabbit at 79% on Rotten Tomatoes. Good brother, why we mentioned this one and we keep talking about it is this is a movie that's going to have some Oscar buzz later on. Might be the dark horse of 2019.
I think it's the dark horse right now because the advertising's really kicked in, and I think what they were afraid of is what's going great is people are really accepting this movie and you don't hear any backlash. Now, I also think Joker is also Joker. So I think we have different forms of one wasn't supposed to be good, turned out to be fantastic, and people are obsessed. As in the other one maybe is more, we thought it was going to be a little hard to swallow. Oh, no, people are really enjoying it. Now we can put these stars out everywhere. And
a movie that it seems people aren't enjoying with a really interesting release date is Midway, coming out this weekend with a 36% on Rotten Tomatoes. Again, this looks like Who Asked for a Roland Emmerich.
Pearl Harbor Part 2, right?
And Joel Elmerick and Michael Bates style of a movie, historical movie. So not into that. Last Christmas.
We should have known by the date with so many war movies coming out that it was not.
Midway. Yeah, just not. Last Christmas, starring the Khaleesi herself, Emilia Clarke, gets its 42%. Again, start of the holiday season.
I think that movie makes a little bit of money, actually.
Yeah, I agree. It's
cheap to make. And I think that's the kind of movie people are looking for right now, if I had to be honest.
How about Playing with Fire? Do you think that makes money with John Cena? Did the marketing work?
I don't think so. Again, some of these movies are like, I don't know the audience. Like, I think it's for kids. It kind of looks like one of those old school Nickelodeon Daddy Daycare projects.
John Cena, Keegan,
like
Michael
Keel. Part 2, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, like Eddie Murphy can carry that kind of movie.
Time out.
I don't think John Cena and the worst part of Key and Peele, no offense, can carry a movie.
What Good Brother is basically saying is, if you watch any of those holiday family movies that come out, and then there's a sequel that you never heard about with a sort of a big actor, but not as big as the original, this is what Playing with Fire kind of feels like.
When they got Cuban Gooding Jr. instead of Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
You know, like.
But it does have John Cena. It does have, like Good Brother said, Keegan-Michael Key, who
and
was.
He's great, but I'm just saying, like, his name doesn't sell as much as director over here of the century. Peele.
Sure. And, one of our favorites in the whole industry, a family favorite, John Leguizamo, also in this movie. So obviously, you know, the movie's not going to be a thing, but if John Leguizamo's in a movie, I'm happy.
I like his comedy special better. Which, if you haven't seen, check it out.
I love
You're
it.
ignorant.
Yeah.
I mean, the new one where he talks about our history, Michael.
Oh, so when he's the one that I watched as a teacher?
Person,
yeah, I've seen it, Good Brother.
Yeah,
I've seen
amazing,
it. Yeah, he's one of the best. I love Super Mario Brothers, so it doesn't matter. But that is
the
what
best part as Luigi.
Yes, and that is what's happening in the box office and what you can spend your money on this weekend.
Talk about it.
But we round back, Good Brother, to the movie that was number one this weekend, and we need to hit on this. Terminator Dark Fate flops in the box office. We're talking about a movie that cost almost $190 million to make, only makes $29 million, and
worldwide, I think 105.
It's a shame because of what the subtext of this movie is. A lot of Latin pride in this movie, a lot of youth in this movie, and nobody cares. And I don't think it has anything to do with the movie. It doesn't have anything to do with quality. It's IP.
I totally agree. I don't think it's one of those, people aren't seeing female leads. People aren't seeing Hispanic leads, because that's false. And there's plenty of, we can spend a whole show about examples of that because there's so many at this point. You're right. I think Terminator's just, at this point, you've had what? 6 movies?
And only 2 were really good.
6 movies? And you're at, like, I mean, I personally did like this one.
Right.
But you're, at best, you're saying you're 50%. And at worst, you're, like 33%? Like, you have more bad movies than good movies. And at best, you're more 50-50. That's not okay for a franchise. And you see it with Aliens. You saw it with Predators. Like, people aren't interested anymore, I think. I think at this point, you have to fully reboot. Halloween was kind of in the middle where it made its money. But I don't think people critically were as hot on it as we thought it would have been. So it's very fascinating that, like, not a lot is working with these continuation of franchises.
Now, do you think moving on through the franchise that we're going to get more sequels? I'm not talking about 15 years, 20 years, because sequels always happen with IP. I'm talking about direct sequels.
Like, and continuation.
Yeah, and I also want to point out something that I did hear from one of the lords of internet pundit and John Campia, where he brought up, how much did Genesis' bad taste affect this movie? If Genesis didn't exist, if we went from Salvation to Dark Fate, do we have a better reaction? Because the quality of movie is 100 times better in Dark Fate than it is Genesis.
Because you can forgive Salvation for the pure fact that it's in the future. So we already know that happened. We can erase it. That doesn't affect our continuity, honestly. Genesis did. It completely messed with it, and then we're supposed to forget all about it. Right. Like, nothing in that movie really mattered.
I see what you're saying.
You know,
There's
hard
a familiarity
to forgive that. Mm-hmm. At least with Salvation, you're like, no, they can just go back, and this is still, we just got to pretend it's Christian Bale in the future, sure. I personally like at least they went for a future thing. I think people can accept they tried something different instead of going back to a time where there wasn't a lot to add. And then this movie, spoiler alert, people were pissed how it started.
So, okay, I want to ask you that. You and I talked about it literally as one of the main topping points of last week's review, which you can check out on the archives, wherever you get your favorite podcast, at Mercado Airwaves. Just search The Good Brothers on the network. We talked about that the first 15 minutes goes for it. They go for it, and I even mentioned to you, I'm interested to hear the generation that's older than us, how they react to what it is. So how was the reaction? You're a little bit more in touch with the internet.
Yeah, they hated it. I think that was a lot of people's biggest issue with the movie, if you didn't like it, is it was such a bold thing to do, and they don't explain a lot.
Which we enjoyed.
I enjoy it for the pure fact that I thought it would have made a little more money, where part 2 kind of would explain more what the new threat is.
Interesting.
I think it upsets people if they look at it as a singular movie, which you should sometimes. But when you're promised more, you kind of try looking at it as a universe, where it's, okay, now you officially destroyed old lore. Okay. So he's dead.
Yeah.
But now there's still going to be something similar. Like, you're really not being that original. Again, I personally want to see where it goes, because I'm fascinated to see this new company, and are we just living a loop, or what's going on with it? But yeah, no, I think a generation older than us really doesn't like it, and the generation under us doesn't care about Terminator, beside the little, memes and videos from the first 2. And then our generation is just, 100 million. There you go.
And we've seen the good, we've seen the bad in the franchise. We've lived through it. Now, I want to ask you this. Make a prediction of what is the next Terminator movie do we see? Is it, in my opinion, the reboot, or do you think it's a continuation somehow? Arnold isn't getting any younger. Love the man. He's not getting any younger.
You're almost at a point where you either got to wait till Arnold's gone.
Which is interesting, which I think might happen.
Option.
Yeah.
He's the only one that's been in every single movie. Technically, his face was in
even the
Salvation.
CGI. Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know, because this movie opened up in China, and it still didn't make that much.
In China,
it's not like we have,
like Joker never opened in
That's
China.
Right. We don't have markets to be like, you know what, they'll make their money back. And as long as you make your money back, you'll be okay. Look at Power Rangers. It made its money back, and it's still not getting a continuation. They're going to reboot it.
Because it's more.
It's fast. And then they got bought out and all that stuff with Hasbro. So it's fascinating that they're going to make a new line of movies. So I hate to say it at this point. I think it's one of those franchises that someone's got to take that step and be like, we need to give it a 10-year break. We need to give it a 15-year break. It's either got to be the Aliens, the Predators, because both those movies tried rebooting, didn't really work. Terminator's really never tried rebooting, kind of mid-booting. So I'm fascinated to see who's going to take that first step. It hasn't worked. Look at the horror franchises. It hasn't worked for any of them. And Halloween only worked because it's a continuation. So it's interesting to see what they decide.
Yeah, and I'm just hoping that if this is the last one, for whatever this continuity is, for whatever this universe is, I think it was well represented, just even beyond the Aladdin thing. It was strongly crafted. It was a well-done movie. It was a lot of the same. I also hear a great comparison is it's The Force Awakens of Terminator, which it kind of is. It's just a retelling with just a new, different added pieces, and I think it's really good for a new generation. I think it's a lot of the same beats.
Because I think the first 15 minutes I think pisses a lot of people off.
See, I
think that's the biggest concern.
And I love every part of that movie. I enjoyed it so much as a fan of as a fan of the franchise that was disappointed with some of the movies in it. The fact that we got this one and this might be the last one of whatever this Terminator is. I mean, if this has to be it, I think they went off in a movie that's going to be loved much more 5 years, 10 years from now than the love it's getting right now.
True.
But, good brother, it seems like while one franchise is failing and trying to find itself, maybe losing itself in time, two franchises in some of the biggest universes in the world have more life added to them, as Spider-Verse 2 is announced for April 2022 and Ant-Man 3 with Peyton Reed as director 2022 all announced. Obviously, the MCU is going to continue on. It's going to be interesting to see as we get closer to next year post Star Wars. We're going to get more into the MCU universe again. And then obviously Spider-Verse 2, you and I agree, it should have won the Oscar at consideration when it comes to Best Picture. It should have had some love in that aspect.
I mean, we knew it wouldn't, but when you talk about animated movies that come once in a generation, that was probably that one.
So let's start with that one. Spider-Verse 2, we know we're getting the Japanese bootleg Spider-Man.
I think we're going to get a lot more Spider-Man. We're going to get the 2099 one, I believe.
Hopefully we get the animated.
They've announced a couple. I think we'll get Tom Holland I think we'll get a voice
Interesting.
Spider-Man in that universe. I think this one might connect it. I think that's why they might have waited a little bit, because now that they're playing nice again, which again we all called on the show that they would. And
on this show,
behind the scenes, they figure it out.
Yeah.
So
not every show.
It's fascinating, but I can't wait. I love the first one. There's really not much more to say. We're still a few years away.
Yeah, for sure, especially the animation.
But I'm very fascinated to see which Spider-Man they do bring, and if we get Tom Holland and Tom Hardy.
That would be so fascinating if they do make that crossover happen in this one. And we are getting Venom versus Carnage first, right?
I believe so.
So
I mean, look, crossing over. Andy Serkis directing that one, and
we'll get into that in just a little bit. Good brother. Ooh, it's a good show today. But before we get to that, Peyton Reed, we really liked them. We like the Ant-Man franchise, Ant-Man 3.
It's fine.
There's rumors that Fantastic Four might be introduced into this one. I don't necessarily care about the rumors.
I think what the problem with Ant-Man is I need something a little bigger for part 3.
So do you think they might do that? Where they
need something because Ant-Man 2 was so fine.
It was fine.
Especially post Infinity War.
Weird.
Here's the problem. I like Spider-Man Far From Home just because I think it improves on a very lackluster first one, and it's the epilogue to what happened.
Endgame, yeah.
Yeah, I think the problem with Ant-Man, it really wasn't anything for Infinity War, and we were waiting for Endgame. So it kind of fell into like, this is almost pointless.
Sure.
And I'm kind of don't want to sit in the movie theater for it.
But it doesn't change the quality of the movie, what the movie was.
Even the movie quality is fine.
No, I think it was a good quality movie. Like, it's a fun 70% movie. Like, that's a fun movie to enjoy. But I think the biggest thing is, unlike Far From Home, we were in the sandwich of getting out of Infinity War and looking straight down to another year of Endgame.
Like, for me, I need more than a 70%. Just like now, you're going to be the pretty much the first in-theater MCU movie.
I think no.
We'll have
10 Rings. No, I think 10 Rings is going to be Quincy.
I just need something big because you're the return. You're the vet now, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you're kind of that original crew now that's going to theater and not Disney Plus.
But people absolutely love Paul Rudd.
Oh, he's
I think it's universal. Yeah, so I think it has that going for it. Like, at the very least, it has Paul Rudd. But speaking of casting, my God, good brother, this freaking movie, Colin Farrell, rumored as Penguin, but confirmed, mother-loving Andy Serkis as Alfred.
Yeah,
Holy cow.
It's fantastic. They're definitely going to go up more, I think, because I think they're kind of making Alfred, like just DC in general, as more of the assassin he was, or the military man. Kingsman. Yeah. We'll call him a Kingsman.
That's a good way of putting it, yeah.
He's basically a Kingsman for DC's Batman universe, and I think that's why you do cast an Andy Serkis, because you can get a little more out of that. I love how they didn't typecast him as Penguin. I personally enjoy seeing Andy Serkis as an actor. I love his motion capture, but I do like seeing him in movies. I think he does bring a lot to the table. Like, even Black Panther and his, I don't think not
Ulysses
well role,
yeah.
He did a good job with it.
Yeah.
And so I do enjoy seeing him. Colin Farrell's great. Good. He's a good character actor. Best part of True Detective Season 2 when it was a terrible season.
Yeah.
So I like him. The whole rogue is great. Commissioner Gordon, Catwoman, like, everything's really working out. And you're like, man, but this movie has to live up to it.
This movie hasn't started shooting yet. They've already done test pictures and stuff. The cast is so strong. Off the top of your head, you can start doing it. Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon. Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle. You have, obviously, you were talking about it to me. There's this weird rumor going around about Matthew McConaughey as Two-Face.
He's one of the names. He's in talks, but we'll get very early.
Yeah, we'll get Paul Dano as the Riddler, Andy Serkis as Alfred, and Colin Farrell as the Penguin. We remember when we came in here, and after the news of Jonah Hill leaving, there was a weird, like, okay, cool, they're still going to get good people, but that's a little bit bummer. They have hit so many home runs since that day.
They're getting
crazy
actors, and it's fantastic. They're going to really, I think they're really setting up. I think they want to get a Harvey Dent, like an actual lawyer Harvey Dent for one, and he's going to set up for part 2. I think that's why they're kind of really looking at it. I think we'll get the 3 main ones for this movie with Catwoman, Riddler, Penguin, and kind of maybe set up Harvey Dent for the next one.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to see if we eventually get a Joker mix in there with Joaquin. Is that maybe what we go down to? Other news, Robert Pattinson has been training with the fight choreographers and instructors from John Wick.
Yep.
So everything is right. Even like the producers and the cinematographers are getting are people you're like, oh man, they worked on Planet of the Apes. Like, these people, they're getting such professionals It's so fascinating. It's like a big version of Joker where you're like, every piece looks so good, and it can't not deliver.
And to me, this is something that's not tangible, but it is something in the internet. You know, we're sports guys here on Mercado Airwaves. This has the feeling of when a Batman movie like a sports team, it's building its franchise around its quarterback. But the quarterback isn't necessarily the flashy thing. Think about some of the greatest Batmans. When Michael Keaton did it, everybody was like, huh. And not everybody was into it, but it was a strong actor. Christian Bale, people were like, huh. Strong actor. And now you got Rob Pattinson. Strong actor. People
Arguably one of the best up-and-coming actors.
But think about like when a famous, young, hot name came in. Val Kilmer. And you have George Clooney. You have Ben Affleck. Even though I love Ben Affleck and Val Kilmer, the point is there's something in the universe when a Batman movie is in production, when the cast is as strong, if not more strong and likable than the main actor, and your main actor is a legit actor, Batman, good things happen in that series.
They're so smart going after a TV cast because more people watch TV than go to the cinema. So I think it's fascinating that the actors they're choosing are very well known. Not like they're in great movies also, but they're more known nowadays as TV actors, if you will. Like that's where they're really hitting their stride on these HBOs and Hulus. I think this movie's going to make $1 billion. We haven't had a Batman movie since Dark Knight Rises.
Which is so crazy.
And it's been so long. We've gone through our Joker phase. We've gone through Suicide Squad. We've seen a Batman, but we haven't gotten a Batman movie necessarily. And now we've gone through Joker, and now you're putting all the right pieces. This movie's going to make $1 billion.
And remember how angry I was last year when I'm like, we haven't had a Batman movie forever? The fact that for the first time in 4 years, there's a tangible, you can kind of feel in the universe.
Batman Begins. You're like, this is going to set up at least 3 baller movies.
With a explosion of a first movie. Yeah. So Batman is super hot right now.
Imagine this makes $1 billion, then you're like, you know what? 2 more years, we're going to do an older Joker and a young Batman. Or at least Joaquin will be 10 years older. So you're like, this kind of does balance out a little bit.
Few weeks back, good brother, a trailer hit the universe that you and I were talking about that we really didn't necessarily understand why they did it, and for the love of us couldn't understand why people were going 2 steps ahead of themselves.
You leave Charlie's Angels out of this, Mike.
But after a really cool Instagram post on Tyler Perry's lot and a brand new trailer, good vibes for Bad Boys 3. Good brother, good trailer coming out. Like
it's
this is
a fine trailer. I'm not a huge Bad Boys fan.
I love Bad Boys.
I think they're fine. Yeah. They're good. They're quotable. Ride together, die together. Bad Boys for life. Like that's the greatest bro thing ever. They're fine. I'm not gonna pay to see this movie.
Sure.
Unless it comes out, they're like, no, this is.
But the vibes are good.
The best and good.
Vibes are good.
I'm more excited that Eddie Murphy from Dolomite is doing. He's doing great. Like everything he's done is like, oh no, it's good.
Yeah.
Oh, I was worried. Like he was.
I love that video though.
So I think it's exciting. I love, rich black men all coming together, supporting other wealthy black men.
So for anybody who hasn't seen it,
I love seeing. You should support your fellow, culture.
So for anybody who hasn't seen it, it was on Tyler Perry's lot. You had Martin Lawrence and Will Smith walking around, and it was Will Smith's Instagram, and they walk up to talk to Eddie Murphy and the entire crew.
Basically, the whole set of Coming to America 2, which is
yes.
I mean, there's a list of famous actors that are on that set.
How important was Coming to America to guys like Will Smith and Martin Lawrence?
Yeah.
To guys like us that's before our era, but like that comedy is such a staple of what cinema is in comedy, at least to me. Like there is without a doubt Eddie Murphy is so important, and so is Will Smith to his generation. And then you kind of put the rest of almost I'm spacing on his name right now. Arsenio Hall and Martin Lawrence, kind of their version to Eddie Murphy and Will Smith. Yeah. It's beautiful. Like there's a synchronicity to it.
I just love Eddie Murphy's back.
I
miss Eddie Murphy. Like, this is the time. Throw him in Mulan now. I heard they're reshooting. Throw Eddie Murphy in there.
Do you think they would do that? I think they were trying to go for something epic, though.
Yeah, but they're reshooting, so I think they're starting to maybe they're realizing, let's go a little more Aladdin than Maleficent. Maybe we need to be a little more closer to our source material than a full-on epic war in Japan or China. I can't wait. Dolomite was so fantastic. People are saying one of the best movies of the year. Like, Eddie Murphy's back, and
Love
that's
it.
great. We're going to get a comedy.
Yep.
I hope we get a Shrek 17.
In for
I
it.
want him to do all his old roles before this dies out.
I just want to see that comedy special. So shout out to all them boys. Obviously, just making every 90s kid
Shout
proud.
out to Tyler Perry, man.
Super shout out to
for
Tyler
him.
Perry. I don't care if it's so easy to
Good
joke
for
and make on him.
him.
Good for him, dude.
I love me some Medea.
So good, brother. We go from one end of the spectrum of silliness and goosiness to a total other end of the spectrum. If you missed last week's episode, we promised you a double dose of one of the best shows going on right now. We talk about Watchmen episode 2 and 3. And just so you guys have an idea about it, you've obviously seen episode 2 already, hopefully, and you haven't seen episode 3. It's been a few days back. So we're going to be pretty open about spoilers already, just let you in on it. Before we get into spoilers, just a yes or no. Did you like both episodes?
Yeah.
I like both episodes. So spoilers for Watchmen on HBO episode 2 and 3 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good brother, what did you think about how it's all kind of coming together when we have Silk Spectre, who is now kind of the lead of the FBI. She hates
She's
mass
the head
vigilance.
of the vigilante task force.
So what do you think about that they went that direction where there's a commentary of commentary on these episodes? What do you think?
I mean, it's one of the smartest shows on TV right now, and I think it's like Joker. People are questioning, well, how can this thing about superheroes be so smart? And it's good writing. That's the first thing.
I agree.
When it comes to episode 2, I thought the 3 episode 2 kind of dragged a little
I
bit.
agree
the
with
most.
that too. Mhm.
It was okay.
Yeah.
But I think you do a 3-episode test, I think it's 3 fantastic episodes.
Sure.
Episode 3 is my favorite
I
because
agree.
we're really starting to really close in on like
The Watchmen.
who these people are, who the Watchmen are. Owlman's probably helping this crippled African American man. And
You think so?
I think because I think they're superheroes together. And maybe they're
what was
holding
with
on.
what was with the spaceship?
Which one?
The one that grabs the car.
I think that's Owlman.
Do you?
I think that's the version of Owlman.
I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah, okay. I thought
So
you
I
meant
think they're
Adamantium.
kind of together,
Okay.
and
Yes, okay.
obviously Silk Spectre went on her own thing, works for the FBI, and she's still kind of living her promiscuous life,
Yes. What do you
still
think
lusting over Dr. Manhattan.
What do you think about that? So obviously there's the great gag of
We're
the
not
blue
going to get
dildo.
until the last episode.
So they're saving the budget for that.
I think we're gonna.
Okay. Do you think that when they drop the car, does she see that as a message from Owl, or does she see that from a
that's
message
from Mr.
from?
Manhattan.
Do you think that's Mr.
Because
Manhattan?
you
Same
see a
thing?
red glare. It's kind of hard because things happen so fast. You have to go back. You see the vision of Mars.
Okay, that's
So
what
it
that
is
was.
Dr.
Okay.
Manhattan.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was listening. That's the whole point. I think is he was listening. So
Now-
he was having fun too.
I didn't do-
Maybe that's going to connect them back. I hear 6 episodes are out there for the main critics, like the early
Okay. Yeah.
screenings.
Yes.
Like some of them not even with the full CGI. And I hear it gets even
better.
So I'm thinking maybe 6 is where we get Dr. Manhattan because that's usually where they'll like give you that turn and they're
Sure.
like, okay, now here are the last 2.
Does-
and now I want you to openly with everyone discuss it.
Does HBO take breaks during the winter?
No.
Okay, so they go straight through. So
they
we're
go
going to
straight
get all the episodes
Yeah.
through. Because, like, for anybody who watches during network television,
I've never
there's
seen
breaks.
them take a break. Usually, like
It's a season break.
That's usually
That's more of a network thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll have enough to get it through the season.
Sure. Now, what did you think about another awesome pundit on the internet, Robert Meyer Burnett, saying he can't quite figure out if he loves Watchmen or he thinks it's pretentious, trying to kind of go against the grain of what Watchmen is. What do you think? Do you think there is an argument to be like, okay,
No, I
if
think
you're
there's
diehard,
enough
Watch-
good hints in there for Watchmen fans. I think it's just here's the problem. When you say Watchmen fan, you're talking about 2 people: either the people that watch the movie or people that read the comic.
Yes.
And then there's that third tier of they just like Watchmen, which is kind of like where you and me fall, where I just like the universe.
I like the universe, yeah.
But I love the movie. I'm more of the movie than a comic book guy.
Well, the
and
comic
I
book
love the
ending's
show.
dumb, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like I was a movie guy. I love Zack Snyder and I love that movie. I
Love
thought
Zack
it was
Snyder.
awesome.
Yeah.
Like punk rock, just awesome.
Patrick
awesome.
Wilson, dude.
It's so good. Yeah, I mean, I don't have to defend Watchmen. I think it's fantastic. Director cut's even better. I do understand where he comes from because I think if you do love both, you're kind of lost in the middle here
Sure.
of what you've seen and what you've read.
Sure.
And then, because I don't think there's a lot of just diehard comic fans only.
No, not in.
I think people really did enjoy the movie, and I think people are enjoying this universe. I think that obviously it's only been 3 episodes, so there's so much we're still finding out. Like I said, episode 2 wasn't as fun because I think we were kind of playing in the semi-universe instead of the whole thing. And this episode brought us back to did what it needed to do. You start off hot. I don't know what this is. I recognize some things.
Right.
Then episode 2 takes you. You're like, okay, I'm getting to know the characters, but I'm not really getting to enjoy Watchmen. This one was all Watchmen. Like,
Yes.
everything about it. Like, oh, this is what's going on in the mansion with Ozymandium.
Loved all that.
And this is what's going on with Silk Spectra and Mr. Manhattan and Owlman. We're starting to see how she thinks about them during this telephone call of how she has a relationship with all three, and why she kind of hates all three in a sense. So I thought it was so good, and I think this episode really puts it back in the universe of, oh no, we're living in, like, that funeral scene was great.
One of the most suspenseful, like, cool, dark scenes I've seen in a long time. I'm thoroughly enjoying this Watchmen series. I cannot wait to see.
I think it's the best thing on TV right now, because Walking Dead keeps dying a slow, painful death.
Yeah.
It kind of hurts because I did defend last season. Now it's like, oh no, you're back to bad. Never mind.
And speaking of one very successful show on a cable television network that's going to be one of the kings of streaming in just a little bit, we go to the other corner, good brother, and we ring the bell in the blue corner. Coming out November 12th, Disney Plus, and its representative, its heavyweight champion, the Mandalorian.
3 episodes, I believe, right? Are we getting 3? Oh, I'm going to stay up all night and watch all 3.
How excited,
Mike,
good brother.
I will need your Disney code since I
apparently
have HBO.
Apparently, yes. So how excited are you? I mean, we're here.
I'm so excited. It's
next
here.
week. Yeah,
Is
it's
that
here.
Monday?
I believe, I can tell you right now, it is 6 days for recording right now behind the... So... the first episode drops Tuesday, which means that on the very next episode of The Good Brothers, we will have a review of The Mandalorian. How fun is that we actually get to be in the middle of that?
I think it's going to be fantastic.
I'm so excited, good brother.
I can't wait to have a week where I get to watch Watchmen and Mandalorian. Like, I love how they're giving us 3 and then just weekly till Thanksgiving. And then The Irishman. There's just so many
12 days later, The Irishman.
So many good things coming out. I just finished siding of BoJack's new half season he did.
Fun.
Fantastic. They're talking about sobriety in Hollywood.
Love it.
And moving on and reliving old cases. It's fantastic. There's so much good TV right now.
So let's geek out for 1 second. I don't want to sit on it too much because we have to get into the actual wrestling ring and not just a theoretical streaming war ring. What is some guesses you want to talk? Do we see Vader?
Not the first 3.
Do we see Luke?
No.
Do we see any recognizable original Star Wars character?
Boba Fett.
Only Boba Fett.
Boba Fett episode 3 or something.
Tell me something crazy that happens in this series.
I don't know, because we don't know what it is. I think that's what's exciting. Like, I'm excited. I don't have any guesses.
Sure, yeah.
Because we don't know what this is going to be.
Because there's a shit ton.
We've never seen a live-action Star Wars television show put with so much money and a director that's made billion-dollar movies. So we've never seen this before, not just in ever. A property like Star Wars, like we're going to get up next year with Green Lantern, and Game of Thrones was a book. This is something completely different. A universe like Star Wars, a live action on a major streaming service, your heaviest hitter to throw out your entrance into the war. It's ridiculous. It's obnoxious.
So what do you think, putting aside the love, emotional tie that you have to Star Wars, the films, and what The Rise of Skywalker represents, what you're going to be feeling that day, are you more excited for The Rise of Skywalker or the first time a Star Wars show is streaming like this in the mountains?
Star Wars show is streaming.
Isn't that interesting?
If this goes good, then imagine how many shows you might get 2 a year.
Yeah.
This is where you might get that.
Yeah.
A new animation, maybe even some movies, maybe some shorter movies. You're like, you know what? Let's do this movie here. Because it makes more sense.
How crazy is it that we might live in a universe where...
We're about to get Obi-Wan, for God's sake.
I know.
With Ian McGregor.
Yeah. So it's going to be fantastic. I'm super excited, and I'm super excited that you and I get to sit here next week's episode right after they drop and review the first 3 episodes of The Mandalorian the day Disney Plus launches. From that battle, good brother, we move to another one. It is WWE versus AEW from November 1st till November 6th. Last week, we gave you all the dap in the world because Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, won the Universal Championship.
I'm a genius.
He was on WWE Backstage where, quickly, shout out to friend Ryan Sadden for becoming a correspondent on that show. Shout out to him, to Erica. Yeah, they're a great couple, great people, personal friends to the show. So congratulations to them. Moving on from marking out about that, let's talk about what we actually have seen in these shows. Yeah. AEW, really interesting. We're heading to Full Gear. I don't think that they've actually built very well to it. I think there's parts of the show that I've enjoyed.
I am just so not into AEW right now.
But with the vice versa being, Raw and SmackDown are going to be hit or miss always because it's Raw and SmackDown, it's network television. But what Triple H is doing with NXT and what they did with the Saudi Arabia craziness about the plane and having Adam Cole look phenomenal with Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins. The women, that Shayna Baszler and Becky Lynch promo. Good brother, this was beautiful Survivor Series storytelling that the WWE does well every once in a while when it comes to the story.
I'm excited to see NXT to see. I'm sure Seth Rollins is showing up.
You think so?
You have to. Like, if you're gonna build Seth Rollins' character back up, he's got to show up tonight and cause hell.
So do we see WWE superstars on USA Network this week or maybe next week?
The Raw ones, I think.
Do you think they go this hard because of where Survivor Series is this year? It is a major.
I think they're just going. One, I think your numbers were low.
Okay.
I think two, you made that great turn from Hell in the Cell. You knew you were going to eat shit because you made a bad call. You turned that around by giving Bray Wyatt the championship, moving Brock to Raw. It all makes sense now. You're like, okay, this is a lot more fun. I think we do need a belt on SmackDown when it's a 2-hour show on Friday night.
Yeah.
Compared to Brock I don't think, he's not bringing viewers, obviously, to SmackDown.
You don't think so?
Not crazy enough where I think it's easier to have more of a Bray Wyatt. I think you're starting to realize that. I think the NXT talent helps. I think they do travel. I think it's good to intermix it like that. It makes it feel more legit. And we always wondered, how are you going to call this third-tier brand to developmental at first, and now it's an equal? This is how you do it. Giving them wins, making them look strong. And at the same time, you have to have some crossover tonight.
Now, do you think all this is for naught, though, if NXT doesn't get over in some really important matches come Survivor Series in Chicago?
First of all, I think it's hilarious that when you look at the pictures, you're like, they're all NXT.
Yeah.
Look at our tag belts. I was like, that was NXT last year.
Yeah.
2 years ago, current. Oh, Women's Championship last year, this year, 2 years ago. It's hilarious to me. I thought it was smart putting Brock against Ray. He's going to get a win.
What do you think about that?
It's fun. You're continuing a story. Cain Velasquez is obviously going to show up. I think they got Brock his win back, but Kane at WrestleMania will probably take the title or Royal Rumble, something like that. Ray's good enough. He's a big enough name. He's fun. That'll be a fun little couple of hits there. I don't want him to go against anyone I like because I'd rather them use him somewhere else. I'm fascinated what they're going to do as a team matchup because of War Games.
War Games!
I think it's fast. I want to hear what they're doing because you thought it was going to be these four. Now you're like, well, they're going to all be wrestling the night after, so I'm curious to who's going to do what. Is there going to be people wrestling 2 nights in a row?
That's the question now. Because this isn't just a little city, it is Survivor Series in Chicago, I think you're going to see a lot of that, all the major stars. I think they want, because think about it, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. They want all that smoke to steal from the street powers. We want the smoke. Think about that. They want to go out. It's not as important, and like as Chicagoans, good brother, you and I know this isn't MSG. We know that this is in the Garden. It's pretty damn close.
Sell out more, though.
Yeah, this is close. This is Chicago. This is where All In and All Out came into. This is where,
and they will be there that Wednesday for TV.
So yes, which is going to be great. We're going to try to get tickets.
Yeah, they'll be there. Think about wrestling. They'll be there Wednesday, and then you're going to have Saturday, Sunday or Friday SmackDown, I believe. Right? Is it Friday SmackDown,
TakeOver, Survivor Series,
and then Raw? Right?
Raw, yeah.
So you're going to have 5 out of 7 days of top-notch wrestling.
And you know that the independent circle are going to they're going to be around because it's going to be
around. Yeah, duh.
So I'm really excited about it. I know that a lot of us, we give WWE and all them a hard time for certain things, but I'm super excited about
I'm interested to see the numbers now that we're done with the World Series. I'm interested to see the numbers.
And more than anything, the fact that we get to see 2 War Games is pretty amazing. I'm super excited about WWE going hard for Chicago. There's times I've been to shows where it doesn't seem like they necessarily care because they know Chicago's going to sell out. But I want to play this really fast. Nobody says it better than William Regal. Hold on. Wait for it.
War Games.
It was like the Your Fire channel was really like, I know it's coming, but it's still great.
Hell yeah. So I'm super excited for it. And hopefully, again, you and I talk about it. There's nothing better than when there's awesome television to go around. AEW, I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping they get a little bit better.
I'm interested personally. They haven't done a good enough job for me making stars. But Jericho's inner crew. But I feel like the problem with that is they're not letting them do enough throughout the whole show. And like just as normal wrestlers. Like I would have loved to have seen the tag team in the tag team tournament. And I know Sammy's getting a match tonight. It's just, man, like it's so hard to not care about NXT when I love NXT. So no duh, I'm more excited about NXT. And now they're intermixing with the main roster. Like I'm going to be watching the first hour of NXT, guaranteed.
Sure. So any last thoughts about anything in the wrestling world? We just got through with Saudi Arabia.
No, just good for Ryan Sand.
Yeah, awesome for Ryan Sand. That's a great way to put it. But good brother, that is it for us here on this episode of the Good Brothers.
Skip the sports section. Yeah, we could skip the sports section.
You want to skip the sports section too? You
can do
all
that.
right, all right.
Bulls
Hold
suck,
on.
Bears suck, Cubs suck, Sox suck, Hawks suck. Yeah, that's about it.
All right. And
Chicago sports for you.
And since the good brother brought it up, we will be having on Tony Gill here on the network. He is one of the Bulls beat reporters for 670thescore.com. Follow him at Tony Gill 670. He is one of the best in the business.
Yell at him why we suck. Tell him,
we will ask him
why.
all that. We will ask him all that. But if you're asking about why we're so angry, a head coach in a professional sports has a punch-in clock to make sure people go to work. We're going to tackle all that on Sports from the Couch on the Mercado Airwaves Network. But until then, thank you for joining us on this episode of The Good Brothers. Good brother Alex, any final thoughts on the world of pop culture, entertainment, and everything in between?
Nope, that's it.
You've been listening to the best damn podcast in Chicago, in the Midwest, in the whole damn world. He's good brother Alex Mercado. I'm Mike Mercado. Make sure you're following us all over the universe. He's at Mercado2121, and I'm at Mike Mercado2333 on Instagram. Like the network on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Mike Mercado2333. Or on Twitter, he's at Mercado21Alex. I'm at mmercado2333. And the show is at Good Brothers Pod. Like, rate, review, share us wherever you get your favorite podcasts at iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Podbean, Google, wherever it is at Mercado Airwaves. And we have brand new tiers on patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves so you can support us in any facet you would like, from getting ad-free interviews with athletes and celebrities to just simply supporting Alex's nasty habit. For the good brother himself, Alex Mercado.
Adios.
I'm Mike Mercado. We'll see you on the next episode of The Good Brothers here on the Mercado
Airwaves
Network.
Thanks for joining us here on The Good Brothers, here on Mercado Airwaves. Enjoy our shows? Follow the Mercado Airwaves crew all over social media. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. On Instagram, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy. Alex is at Mercado2121. Mike is at Mike Mercado2333. And our true crime show is at Murder Mysteries and More. And on Twitter, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy. Alex is at Mercado21Alex. And Mike is at mmercado2333. You can follow the network at Mercado Airwaves. Follow our pop culture show on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. Get us on the go by downloading our programs anywhere you get your favorite podcasts, like iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, Stitcher, and other popular sites. Just search us at Mercado Airwaves. While you're at it, please like, rate, review, and share us with your friends. Visit us on youtube.com/Mike Mercado2333. Click the subscribe and like button to get notified every time a new episode or interview is posted. Support Mercado Airwaves by visiting patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, the home of our interviews with athletes and celebrities, which you can get ad-free and early before it's released to the public. Come play video games with us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airwaves Network. Mercado Airwaves is powered by Munch Art Design. Like them on Facebook at Munch Art Design. Voiceover work on Mercado Airwaves is performed by Josh Fox. Enjoy our shows? Follow the Mercado Airways crew all over social media. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airways. On Instagram, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy, Alex is at Mercado2121, Mike is at Mike Mercado2333, and our true crime show is at Murder Mysteries and More. And on Twitter, Nicole is at Typing When Tipsy, Alex is at Mercado21Alex, and Mike is at Mercado2333. You can follow the network at Mercado Airways. Follow our pop culture show on Twitter at Good Brothers Pod. Get us on the go by downloading our programs anywhere you get your favorite podcast, like iTunes, SoundCloud, Podbean, Stitcher, and other popular sites. Just search us at Mercado Airways. While you're at it, please like, rate, review, and share us with your friends. Visit us on youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. Click the subscribe and like button to get notified every time a new episode or interview is posted. Support Mercado Airways by visiting patreon.com/Mercado Airways, the home of our interviews with athletes and celebrities, which you can get ad-free and early before it's released to the public. Come play video games with us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Mercado Airways Network. Mercado Airwaves is powered by Munch Art Design. Like them on Facebook at Munch Art Design. Voiceover work on Mercado Airwaves is performed by Josh Fox.
What's up, friends? Mike here from Mercado Airwaves. If you missed any one of our past interviews with amazing guests like future Hall of Famer and pound for pound best fighter in the world, UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson,
Another day at the operator to go out there and test my skill.
to award-winning producer, director, and actor Orlando Jones. Orlando, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, sir. I'm good, brother. How you doing?
And all the other interesting guests we've had on. Joining us today is director and writer David Ferrier.
Thanks so much, brother. I appreciate you having me on the show.
MMA legend Chael Sonnen joins us today.
Keep listening to your show. This is great. Thanks, my friend.
Just subscribe to us on iTunes at Mercado Airwaves. And while you're there, please like, review, and rate us, friends. It helps so much. We also have a Patreon for anyone who would like to support the show. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves and see how you can get all of our interviews ad-free and before anyone else, and how you can get your business or company spotlighted on the show. Follow us on Twitter at mmercado2333. Like us on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves. Subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/MikeMercado2333. And if you would like to see what we're up to behind the scenes, follow us on Instagram, MikeMercado2333. Thanks for listening and all the support.